2026 is coming. Are you ready for the Zodiac changes ahead? 2026 arrives like an editor with a red pen. Not to punish, but to cut away what makes the story weak so the real plot can emerge. Think of this year as a large-scale, energetic rewrite. Patterns that have lingered for decades face testing. Priorities that were blurry are summoned into focus. Relationships and projects that never fit will be exposed, and the brave work of clearing will create room for something purer and more aligned. That's the pulse beneath every sign. The question is not whether change comes, it already is, but whether you will meet it with readiness, with choices made from clarity rather than panic. Across the Zodiac, 2026's signature is a blend of purification and initiation. Old scaffolding is likely to come down. In its place, a smaller, stronger structure may be built. The year asks for inner authority, to say no, to set limits, to finish what started, and to refuse what drains. It offers tangible opportunities, promotions, partnerships, moves, but they usually arrive after a phase of clearing, testing, or measurable accountability. Seasonal windows will matter. Spring brings crystallization, a clear shape emerges from the fog. Mid-year forces decisions under pressure. Autumn tends to deliver rewards and recognition for disciplined work. Winter asks for consolidation and careful planning for what's next. Readiness in 2026 is seasonal as much as it is moral. Timing and preparation count. This video will walk the Zodiac in order. For each sign, you'll get one headline sentence describing the year's main theme, what's likely to break away or be purified, what may shift in career and money, what's happening in relationships and emotions, the seasonal signposts to watch, and one small practical action you can take to prepare. If this hits a nerve, subscribe now so you don't miss your deeper sign-by-sign plan for 2026. Aries, rebirth through chosen discipline. Headline: 2026 invites Aries into a second birth by turning impulsive fire into controlled momentum. What breaks? For you, Aries, 2026 may force the release of half-finished ventures and performative bravado. The image of burning the old to make room applies directly, but this is not reckless burning. The purge is selective. Things that surged on passion without roots are likely to falter. That disappoints, but it also clears the stage. Career and finance. Professionally, you could find yourself at a crossroads where speed meets consequence. Short-term wins that relied on charisma alone will be tested. Offers that look flashy may come with strings you had encountered. At the same time, a more substantial project that requires consistent effort could surface, asking you to channel your energy into systems and follow-through. Expect invitations to lead or launch, but the real gains will go to whoever pairs your boldness with scheduling and accountability. Relationships and emotion. In personal life, boundaries become essential. Relationships that feed your ego but drain your reserves are likely to show their true cost. Vulnerability will be a currency in 2026. Those who step into honest exchange deepen bonds. Those who continue to act out of image might find ties loosening. The year asks you to choose depth over drama. Seasonal timing. Spring will bring clarity. A relationship or a role that has been murky comes into focus. Mid-year pressure could force a quick choice about continued investment. Autumn likely honors sustained effort with a new platform or recognition. Winter is a time for quiet planning, not public fireworks. Micro-action. Choose one project and make a 90-day plan for it. Commit to daily, measurable steps rather than sporadic inspiration. Move on. From Aries' rebirth of focus, we glide towards Taurus, where the work is not speed, but soil, making roots hold in a shaken world. Taurus, rooted reinvention. Headline: 2026 asks Taurus to risk in order to cement lasting stability. What breaks? The solidity Taurus prizes will be probed. Structures you leaned on, a routine, a job, a financial cushion that felt safe but relied on assumptions, may wobble. This is purification that asks whether your foundations are real or merely comfortable illusions. Career and finance. Financial maturity is on the table. You may be presented with an opportunity that seems risky at first, a change in income source, a relocation with cost of living trade-offs, or a new partnership that requires an initial stretch. The better moves are those that come with clear terms and scalable plans. If you use the year to reorganize finances into simpler, more resilient systems, you'll be positioned for steadier returns later in the year. Relationships and emotion. Intimacy deepens where loyalty is mutual and practical. Otherwise, complacency reveals itself. If a relationship has survived on routine rather than reciprocity, 2026 may surface resentments. You're invited to clarify needs. Ask for what you want and expect resistance to tell you where boundaries are needed. Seasonal timing. Spring is your planting window. Decide what deserves investment. Mid-year may force a practical decision about money or housing. By autumn, the seeds you tended with discipline are likely to show tangible growth. Winter invites conservation and planning for long-term resilience. Micro-action. Simplify one financial or household system this month. Consolidate accounts, renegotiate a contract, or create a realistic monthly buffer. Transition. As Taurus digs down, Gemini will gather and reframe what emerges. Ideas that were scattered now need a single path forward. Gemini, from scatter to vocation. Headline: 2026 calls Gemini to unify scattered talents into a coherent vocation or public voice. What breaks? The temptation to start new things without finishing will be curtailed. You may notice projects that were a comfort, a hobby that kept you busy, an internet identity that consumed time, losing their shine. The purge nudges you to stop celebrating potential and begin proving it. Career and finance. This could be the year a side idea either proves commercially viable or falls away. You're likely to be offered roles that require clarity of message and consistency. Revenue growth will favor those who choose a single lane rather than dozens of half-formed pursuits. Be cautious of opportunities that ask you to overextend before you have systems. Relationships and emotion. Conversations become less surface level. Some friendships and romances will demand deeper honesty. You may see who supports your evolution versus who wants the old, lighter version of you. Emotional growth will come from pairing curiosity with commitment. Seasonal timing. Spring helps crystallize what you want to pursue as vocation rather than pastime. Mid-year challenges push you to decide which collaborations are sustainable. Autumn can amplify a clear message or product you've refined. Winter is for editing, trimming projects, and managing people efficiently. Micro-action. Pick one public idea or project and create a content or delivery schedule for the next 6 months. Treat it like a business test, not a hobby. Transition. While Gemini fixes a beam of focus into place, Cancer will work on the compass that points true. Emotional navigation and home recalibration. Cancer, finding the compass. Headline: 2026 asks Cancer to let the inner compass, not fear, steer family, home, and self-identity. What breaks? Old emotional patterns and caretaking overextension may be exposed. The ways you have kept peace at your own expense could come into conflict with your emerging needs. The cleansing will feel tender but necessary. Career and finance. Professional shifts are likely to come through changes in domestic patterns, working from a different place, shifting priorities to allow for caregiving, or even monetizing a home-based skill. Offers that require emotional labor should be examined for reciprocity. Financial stability will grow from clearer boundaries around time and energy. Relationships and emotion. Some ties may loosen as you assert needs. This can feel like abandonment, but it may also be the prelude to healthier attachment. You're called to practice saying no with compassion and to lean into relationships that respond with respect rather than entitlement. Seasonal timing. Spring brings a recalibration of the household or living situation. Mid-year presses you to decide on family-related plans. Autumn could provide a sense of greater belonging if you've held firm and negotiated fairly. Winter is time for emotional economy, conserving inner resources for the road ahead. Micro-action. Write down your non-negotiables for family and work-life balance, then communicate one of them gently but clearly to someone who needs to know. Transition. From Cancer's inner compass, we step into Leo's arena, a stage where authenticity becomes a leadership test. Leo, authentic leadership, not performance. Headline: 2026 pushes Leo to lead from authenticity rather than applause. What breaks? Performance that masks insecurity will fray. Situations that rewarded surface charisma without substance may lose traction. The year's purification asks, is your authority earned or merely projected? Career and finance? Positions that put you in the spotlight can expand, but only if they are backed by reliable input and structure. Financial opportunities may include visibility-based ventures, public roles, creative funding, or leadership positions. But these will likely require support systems, teams, contracts, clearer processes. Payments and recognition come more reliably to those who can translate charisma into consistent delivery. Relationships and emotion? Romance and friendships will be tested for sincerity. People attracted to your shine might not stay when the work of intimacy demands steadiness. This is a time to show up as you are and let those who value true warmth remain. Seasonal timing. Spring is a time to reveal a new, more honest version of yourself. Mid-year brings tests of leadership under pressure. Autumn could bring applause that reflects real achievement. Winter is for tending the relationships that matter off-stage. Micro-action. Choose one public promise you've made and create a system to keep it. Delegate tasks, set deadlines, and honor follow-through. Transition. As Leo learns to lead without the mask, Virgo moves next to translate the same demand into daily mastery. Small systems with big consequence. Virgo, systems that sustain the new you. Headline: 2026 invites Virgo to transform daily routines into the scaffolding of a larger destiny. What breaks? Inefficient routines and perfectionist paralysis both show up as liabilities this year. The system that allowed you to keep everything just so may be incompatible with the scale of opportunity 2026 presents. Some habits will have to be sacrificed. Financially, the year encourages investing in tools or systems rather than impulsive fixes. Relationships and emotion? Attention to small things will matter in relationships. Your follow-through becomes a form of love. But beware of turning care into micromanagement. Emotional growth comes from learning when good enough truly is good enough, and when to let others contribute without correction. Seasonal timing. Spring is a time to redesign your daily life for efficiency. Mid-year might require making practical swaps, hiring help, outsourcing what drains you. Autumn rewards consistent processes. Winter is for documentation, taxation prep, and steady consolidation. Micro-action. Audit one daily system, finances, email, health routine, and remove or automate one friction point this month. Transition out. From the detailed steadiness of Virgo, the calendar moves toward Libra, where balance and alliances become the currency of 2026's test. At this point, 2026's sweep has begun to show pattern. The first 6 signs are clear about the balance between clearing and building. Each encounter so far has highlighted that the year will ask for both courage and method. The courage to let go, the method to plant new roots. But the story is only half told. The remaining signs will reveal how partnerships, ambition, innovation, and compassion play out when the second half of the year's pressure lands. Before those sign-by-sign futures come into focus, it's worth pausing to feel the shape of the invitation. 2026 does not merely remove, it proposes. It proposes new alignments, new roles, and a trimmed-down, truer version of what you are meant to carry forward. Take a breath. Notice where you felt resistance reading these first 6 signs. That resistance points to where 2026 is already at work. Are you protecting a structure that needs to change? Or do you sense a new possibility whispering beneath the rubble? Make a note, one small sentence of the first micro action you can take from the list above. Hold on to it. It will be useful as we move into the second half of the Zodiac and the year's middle tests begin to press. Libra, alliances that redefine balance. Headline: 2026 invites Libra to rebalance power in partnerships, turning social grace into clear, mutual agreements. What breaks? For Libra, the year may dissolve the illusion that politeness alone preserves partnerships. The smoothing over tactics that once kept things pleasant without addressing power imbalances are likely to wear thin. Situations that relied on unspoken expectations, emotional labor that wasn't acknowledged, favors taken for granted, deals made on vague terms could fracture simply because the energy of 2026 demands clarity. This kind of purification is not punishment. It's a chance to replace polite inequality with honest reciprocity. Career and finance. Professionally, Libra may face negotiations that test leverage. Joint ventures, shared projects, or co-owned resources could be reevaluated. Contracts that rely on charm rather than enforceable terms may be renegotiated or end. Financially, look for opportunities where alliance building becomes a lever, forming a partnership with complementary skills, pooling resources for a new venture, or stepping into roles that require diplomacy and fairness. That said, be cautious with deals that seem flattering but lack clear compensation structures. Insist on clarity before committing. Relationships and emotion. Emotionally, relationships will ask for clearer boundaries and mutual contribution. Romantic or platonic ties that have been carried more by one person than the other may reveal their imbalance. The invitation for Libra is to translate fairness from idea to practice. Express needs without guilt, listen without sacrificing self, and demand reciprocity as a form of respect for yourself and the relationship. Those who accept this work could deepen trust. Those who resist may find partnerships drifting apart. Seasonal timing. Spring tends to illuminate the state of a key relationship. A crucial conversation or contract may crystallize. Mid-year could present a negotiation that requires you to take a stand. Avoid reactive concessions. Autumn offers the chance to reap the benefits of fair reorganizing. A partnership that's been equalized may start delivering steady returns. Winter is for legal housekeeping. Update agreements, review commitments, and plan how to protect shared assets. Microaction. Draft a short, honest message or a one-page agreement that clarifies one shared expectation. Send it or schedule the talk this month. Transition. From Libra's redefinition of give and take, Scorpio steps into the crucible, where the pressure compels depth and reveals what's truly loyal. Scorpio, deep purges, powerful rebirth. Headline: 2026 asks Scorpio to go deep, to purge what lives off surface safety and allow a truer power to emerge. What breaks? Scorpio's year is about being stripped to essentials. Superficial transformations, half-hearted commitments, and hidden compromises are likely to be exposed. The intensity of 2026 can make secrets unsustainable, and alliances that depend on shadow agreements unravel. This breaking is intimate and sometimes brutal, but it clears the way for a more authentic, resilient self. Career and finance. Work that demands emotional intelligence and strategic discretion may advance. Roles involving research, transformation, crisis management, or stewardship could call. Financially, inheritance issues, shared assets, or investments managed in partnership may require renegotiation or transparency. Scorpio could find that hidden liabilities surface, which is painful, but it enables correction. Opportunities for realignment may appear as offers to manage or restructure resources rather than as flashy short-term gains. Relationships and emotion. Deep emotional weeding is likely. Relationships built on dependency, manipulation, or avoidance will be tested. Those that pass the test may deepen into rare loyalty. Scorpio is invited to examine attachments. Are they life-giving or draining? The work is to choose alliances that respect mutual growth and to let go of entanglements that thrive on drama or secrecy. Vulnerability that comes from strength, not from demand, will be rewarded. Mid-year can bring intense, decisive moments, a truth revealed, a boundary enforced, or a choice that shifts a life path. Autumn may offer regeneration. After the clearing, new commitments feel more potent. Winter is time to fortify new structures and refrain from old compulsions. Microaction. Identify one secret-keeping pattern or financial ambiguity and create a plan to address it, whether by a conversation, a disclosure, or consulting a trusted professional. Transition. As Scorpio clears the deep material, Sagittarius lifts the head to the horizon. Opportunity and expansion ask for honest intent and practical routes forward. Sagittarius, intention meets navigation. Headline: 2026 encourages Sagittarius to turn wide horizons into mapped plans. Inspiration without structure will not suffice. What breaks? The more impulsive forms of expansion, scattering across too many directions, dreaming without routes, may peel away. If you've relied on the sheer force of optimism to carry projects, 2026 can test whether those dreams have realistic scaffolding. This pruning is not a narrowing of vision, but an insistence that your journey be sustainable. Career and finance. Travel, learning, publishing, and roles that involve growth or education may accelerate, but they will favor those who can translate big ideas into logistics. Offers that promise rapid expansion may be contingent on demonstrable plans. Financial success this year leans toward investments in capacity, courses, certifications, networks, rather than speculative gambles. If relocation appears, it could be a catalyst rather than a cure. The move needs to be accompanied by systems to support it. Microaction. Choose one big idea you've been nurturing and write a one-page implementation map with 3 immediate next steps and realistic timelines. Transition. From Sagittarius's mapped horizon, Capricorn takes the map and builds the infrastructure. Ambition needs architecture to become legacy. Capricorn, building durable legacy. Headline: 2026 asks Capricorn to convert ambition into structures that outlast a single cycle, favoring discipline over spectacle. What breaks? Systems that were propped up by reputation rather than performance may falter. Old hierarchies, roles kept for prestige instead of purpose, and commitments made out of obligation rather than strategic intents may dissolve. This is not a loss of status if it leads to building something more sustainable. Career and finance. This year rewards long-term planning and conservative scaling. Opportunities might present as promotions that come with heavier responsibility, offers to lead long-term projects, or investments that require patience. Financially, Capricorn benefits from consolidating gains into assets that appreciate with time. Retirement planning, property, or structured revenue models. Avoid risky shortcuts that promise immediate status without durable returns. Relationships and emotion. On the personal fronts, expect relationships to be evaluated for reliability. Partnerships that match your long-term vision will become anchors. Others may drift away as you demand accountability and aligned goals. Emotional maturity in 2026 for Capricorn means allowing affection to exist outside of transactional utility and learning to be vulnerable without losing direction. Seasonal timing. Spring could bring a proposal or an offer tied to extended commitment, apprenticeship, partnership, or new role. Mid-year pressures may test your capacity to scale with integrity. Autumn is likely to show the first returns of steady investment, recognition, remuneration, or concrete progress on a multi-year plan. Winter is consolidation, Legal, fiscal, and strategic housekeeping prepares you for the next building phase. Micro-action. Create or update a 5-year plan for one major part of your life, career, finances, or a creative legacy, and set one measurable goal to reach by next winter. Transition. As Capricorn cements foundations, Aquarius injects the future. Innovation must marry ethics and vision this year. Aquarius. Practical innovation, not reckless radicalism. Headline. 2026 calls Aquarius to ground visionary ideas in practical, collaborative frameworks that respect both community and individual freedom. What breaks? Ideals that have never met practical tests may lose their appeal. Projects that were all theory without pilots or community buy-in could stall. The year tends to favor innovations that include clear mechanisms for accountability and impact. This is a purification of ideology into effect. Career and finance. Roles that involve technology, community building, or social innovation could expand, especially when proposals include real-world pilots or measurable outcomes. Funding and support may be available for initiatives that can demonstrate both inclusivity and scalability. Financially, Aquarius is best advised to favor diversified support structures, a combination of grants, earned revenue, and partnerships rather than single-source dependence. Relationships and emotion. Social circles may shift as values are clarified. Friendships that were once aligned on ideals but never on practice could thin out. The emotional work of 2026 asks Aquarians to balance independence with the discipline of showing up for others. Intimacy grows when visionary conversation is backed by consistent acts of care. Seasonal timing. Spring is fertile for launching pilot projects or community experiments. Mid-year could force you to choose between ideological purity and practical compromise. Choose experiments that preserve core values while testing feasibility. Autumn may reward collaborations that have evolved beyond concept into impact. Winter is for measuring outcomes and codifying the successful practices for wider replication. Micro-action. Design a small pilot or prototype for one idea. Set a single metric to test in 90 days and recruit one collaborator to help run it. Transition. Whereas Aquarius turns bold ideas into shared experiments, Pisces finishes the wheel with integration, spiritual sensitivity that finds form. Pisces, compassion that organizes. Headline: 2026 asks Pisces to channel empathy into actionable boundaries and creative structure, turning dream into sustainable practice. What breaks? Pisces' tendency to dissolve into others or to retreat into unfocused dreaming may be challenged. Unclear emotional boundaries and projects that exist only as ideals may reveal their lack of port in reality. The break is subtle. It's the gentle erosion of options that weren't viable. This gentle undoing creates space for disciplined imagination. Career and finance. Creative and healing professions may find meaningful openings if supported by clear schedules and professional boundaries. You might be invited to monetize compassion through structured offerings, workshops, coaching, or creative work with sustainable delivery methods. Financially, success comes from transforming generosity into systems that don't depend on burnout. Set rates, scopes of work, and reliable income streams. Relationships and emotion. Emotionally, 2026 asks Pisces to protect their sensitivity through limits that honor both self and other. Some relationships that once felt deeply intimate may strain under the need for clarity. Others will deepen when care is paired with consistent presence. Your gift in 2026 is to bring heart to systems. Create frameworks where compassion is not drained but multiplied. Seasonal timing. Spring offers inspiration and the chance to prototype a compassionate offering. Mid-year may require you to formalize roles and set boundaries with clients, partners, or loved ones. Autumn can bring recognition for sustained soulful work if you've established routines. Winter encourages rest and replenishment as you integrate lessons and plan for ethical growth. Micro-action. Define your service terms or creative scope in writing this month. One clear statement of what you offer, how you work, and what you won't do. Transition. With Pisces turning compassion into practice, the Zodiac cycle completes a second half that is less about wrecking the old for its own sake and more about shaping what survives into durable, intentional life. The remaining arc of 2026 is about joining courage with structure, sensitivity with discipline, and vision with execution. Synthesis. What all signs share and how to be ready. 2026's pattern by now should feel familiar. It does not simply remove, it refines. Across the zodiac, the same motifs repeat in different languages. The cosmos is asking for purification that precedes purposeful construction. It asks for boundaries so energy can be conserved. It rewards those who turn impulse into plan. And it tends to favor the patient builder over the flash in the pan winner. 3 cross-sign truths matter most. First, seasonality is a guide, not a deadline. Spring will bring clarity, mid-year will press for decisions, autumn will reward disciplined action, winter calls for consolidation. These windows are opportunities to align your moves with broader momentum, but they are not ironclad promises. Second, 2026 privileges clarity over charisma. Whether in money, love, or vocation, those who can show consistent systems and honest agreements are more likely to convert opportunity into sustainable gain. Third, purification is rarely painless emotionally. Grief and relief often come together. Yet, what's removed usually makes room for a truer expression of self. A simple 3-step readiness practice can make this year less reactive and more directed. Think of it as assess, prioritize, execute. Assess. Take inventory without judgment. Where have you been relying on impression rather than infrastructure? What relationships or projects are carrying you and which are carrying you down? Create a list of 3 areas that feel unstable or draining. This is not about blame, it's about truth. Prioritize. From that list, choose one area that, if clarified, would produce the largest compound effect over the next 9 to 12 months. That might be a financial system, a single relationship, a professional role, or a daily routine. Rank it by impact and feasibility. Execute. Design one micro action you can take within 7 days and one medium action you can complete by spring. Micro actions are small but binding. A conversation scheduled, a 90-day plan made, a 1-page outline of a project, or a budget tweak. Medium actions are more substantial. A contract reviewed, a class enrolled, a relocation researched. The idea is to make progress that is measurable and repeatable, not to grandstand with gestures that cannot be sustained. Practical examples across the signs. If you're like Aries, your micro action might be to draft that 90-day work plan and commit to one daily habit. Mid-action could be setting up an accountability partner. For Taurus, micro action could be simplifying one financial process this week. Medium action would be renegotiating a recurring expense before summer. Gemini's micro action, publish one consistent piece of content weekly for 3 months. Medium action, formalize a revenue pathway for that content by autumn. Cancer's micro action, list and communicate one household boundary. Medium action, restructure caregiving time into a billable or scheduled arrangement. Leo's micro action, pick a public promise and outline the team or tools needed to keep it. Medium action, sign a contract or hire support to ensure delivery. Virgo's micro action, automate one work friction. Medium action, implement a system upgrade that frees your time for strategic work. Libra's micro-action, draft the one-page agreement for a partnership or relationship expectation. Medium action, renegotiate terms with shared stakeholders. Scorpio's micro-action, disclose one ambiguity that's weighing you down. Medium action, restructure shared assets or liabilities with professional help. Sagittarius's micro-action, write a one-page implementation map. Medium action, enroll in a key course or secure pre-approval for a move. Capricorn's micro-action, set one measurable 5-year milestone. Medium action, align legal or fiscal structures to that goal. Aquarius's micro-action, launch a small pilot. Medium action, secure funding or institutional partnerships based on the pilot results. Pisces' micro-action, create a one-page statement of service terms. Medium action, formalize offerings and a sustainable pricing model. Remember, readiness is not about sprinting blindly. It's about steady commitments that align with seasonal windows. If you take one small binding step now, you're exercising the muscle 2026 asks us to grow. A few cautions to carry with your plans. Do not confuse urgency with panic. The year will create pressure points, but pressure is informative, not destructive by default. Avoid making irreversible decisions under stress without a plan. Prepare an exit strategy where relevant. When money or legal stakes are involved, consider consulting a professional. This guidance is about tendencies and preparation, not specific advice you must follow verbatim. The climactic ask of 2026 is simple but hard. Choose. Choose clarity over motion, boundaries over people-pleasing, systems over improvisation. It isn't always dramatic. Often, it's a series of small, disciplined choices that accumulate into a profoundly new life. The cosmos offers openings. Readiness converts them into durable outcomes. A short, practical weekly ritual to sustain readiness. 1. Sunday assessment, 30 minutes. Review one domain from your assess list. Note one win and one tension. Write one micro-action for the week. 2. Midweek check-in, 10 minutes. Adjust the micro-action if needed or reinforce it. Record one observation. 3. Sunday review, 15 minutes. Mark progress, recalibrate priorities, and set the small commitment for the following week. Do this for at least 3 months, and you'll feel the difference. Impulses will become habits, then systems, then structures that carry you into the autumn rewards of 2026. Closing, the question again, are you ready? 2026 arrives less like a meteor and more like a summons. It asks for courage to let go and the discipline to build what replaces it. You do not have to be perfect to respond effectively. You simply need to be willing to act with clarity and to make one binding commitment that proves you are serious. Before spring, choose one concrete thing from the micro actions above and make it non-negotiable. Schedule it, tell one accountable person, and show up. That single act of readiness shifts how you meet the rest of the year. It trains you to decide under pressure and to make change that lasts. Comment below with your sign and the one practical step you'll take before spring. The most actionable responses will be featured in the follow-up breakdown. If this forecast helped you see where change may be coming, subscribe for deeper sign-by-sign plans, like the video, and share it with someone who needs a nudge toward readiness. The year is arriving. You can meet it prepared, not surprised. Are you ready?